Hey, what's up, guys? Today we're going to be taking a look at this Chinese adjustable regulator. I've just taken this flex regulator off of this bottle, and we're going to put them side by side for that comparison. I did notice this one is a little bit shorter. First of all, let's see what we get in the box. It came, outside of the box, outside of any bubble wrap, just floating around in the bag, of course. I think that they just throw the box in separately after they throw that in the bag, but it arrived fine. There's just a little bit of paint or anodizing that got rubbed off of there, but that's no big deal. So it's got the larger gauges than the Ninja stuff. Ninja used to come with big gauges like that. It comes with a few extra seals and an Allen key. As far as length, you see it is a good bit shorter. Now, some of the reviews on this, it doesn't really have good reviews. Most of the stuff that I saw was like 3 out of 5 stars, and one of the big complaints is that it'll drift. What I mean by drifting is you're supposed to be able to set this by that set screw right there, and let's say you want to crank it up to 1,000 psi. You crank it up to 1,000 psi. This reads your tank pressure. This reads your output pressure. And you set that at 1,000 psi, and you think you're good to go, and then you plug it up to your gun or whatever, and then you walk away, and then you come back, 10 minutes, a few hours later, and the thing's up to, I don't know. It might be on zero because it will have climbed all the way up to 4,000 or 5,000 pounds of blown your seals out and lost all your air. So that's what they mean by that. Now, I'm hoping that if that is an issue with this, that it's just a matter of replacing one of these seals. They don't tend to put the highest quality seals in stuff like this. And, these, it's just a cost-cutting measure that can sometimes mean a huge difference. So if it doesn't work, if it drifts, we'll end up tearing it down, maybe not in this video, but just trying to figure out what makes it tick. So here's a side-by-side of the flex regulator, the Ninja flex regulator, and our Chinese regulator. We can see how much shorter the Chinese regulator is. We are full and got no pressure reading on the output yet, but that's to be expected. It comes with some little plastic protectors. And one of the differences between this and the flex regulator is that the flex regulators came in 3 different ranges, 1,000 to 1,700 psi, and then there's 2 ranges higher than that. I can't remember exactly what they are. And this is what you use to adjust the flex regulator up and down, whereas you use this to adjust this up and down. All right, let's try that. Now, it doesn't really say what direction to turn this in to crank it up, but I'm assuming that, since it was totally loose to the left, we need to righty-tighty for more pressure. So yeah, I got my glasses on, my eye protection for crazy stuff like this. And we're supposed to, yep, I can see it coming up. Okay. So that is saying just above 1,000 psi. Let's see with this. There's like no literature on this thing that I can find. I did see them on Amazon. I got this one off of AliExpress. I think you can get these things for like 35 bucks sometimes. I gave like 40 for this. So, you know, I don't have a dog in a fight other than I hope that this thing works because they're so much less expensive than flex regulators. To be honest, I don't know if Ninja's still even open. They just stopped responding to my emails when I wanted bottles, and I don't know why. I think it's just they got tired of dealing with me because I'm such small time. Whatever, though. Okay. So that is reading right at 1,000 psi. I was watching a couple of videos on gauges, and according to that fella, whenever you have a pressure gauge like this, it's most accurate in the middle range. So maybe that's why it's not on 1,000 psi exactly. And, you know, on here, I guess that's close to 1,000. I'm going to bump it up a little bit more. Actually, I'm going to just leave it like it is for a while and then come back to it and see if it has actually crept up there. But so far, so good. Yeah, so anyway, this regulator is supposed to be good for 0 to, I think, 3,000 psi. It does say that here on the box. Yep, 0 to 3,000 psi. And they come with your metric threads or your standard threads. Manufacturer Bozo Technology Company Limited. How about that? It's a good color for that then. While we wait on that, I'm going ahead and putting a smooth bore on here, and I'm swapping out the barrel seal. The one on the top is the loose one that came out of it, the one that helped us get those extreme high pressure rates. And now we're kind of switching gears and going to the opposite end of it. The one on the bottom, it just gives you just enough clearance for the BB, but it doesn't provide any restriction, while it also seals the valve body to the barrel nut, and doesn't provide much of a gap that the baby has to jump over. So therefore, with the smooth bore and the tighter seal, we will not be able to push as much pressure through it. I think that I'm just going to leave the restrictor plate like it is. I may take it out and put in this one, but for now I'm just going to leave it in, because that pretty much simulates running a bottle with a hose, you know, whatever, when a slide check valve, whatever pressure you're running, that simulate that. The orifice in my restrictor plate mimics the orifice size of your average slide check valve. It's been about an hour and 10 minutes, and yeah, nothing has changed. So we're not experiencing any fade. I don't know how you're going to be able to see that, but it's right where we left it. So we're going to hook this thing up and shoot it. I've got the smooth bore in there. I changed out the seal, and I had the idea the other day, but I just kept forgetting to implement it, to take a look at the pressure gauge while we shoot and see, you know, like how far does it draw down when we're shooting. Like I know it's going to be kind of hard to tell with this gauge, but it would give us some kind of an idea of, like, you know, maybe it brings it down to 800 psi when we're shooting 4K or something like that, just because of the different flow rates and whatnot. Anyhow, I'm gonna shoot it and just kind of I think I'll put the camera on the gauges, so not really worry about, you know, you've seen what it looks like when BBs go through paper, haven't you? So I'm just gonna have a look at the gauges, and then that way we'll both get to see what's going on there. And yeah, we can have a look at the target afterwards for sure, but it's just set up like that. Okay, keep your eye on this gauge and see what it does. We're at 5K with a pulse of, oh, I don't want to go up to 7. I want to start out at 4. Everything's going to be different now that we've got this smooth bore and that tighter seal. Okay. Going up to a pulse of 5. Sounds like it's not being able to keep up. So we're going all the way up to 7. Let's go back down. Might not be good enough for 5K. Let's see what 2K does. Clutch is too tight. I'm gonna have to adjust it. So if you watched the last video, we cranked down on the clutch to help get rid of the stray BBs at 2500 psi. And now with, you know, 1000 psi and this not looking like it's going to be able to supply enough for extreme fire rates, I just looked at the clip of that gauge. What happens is, you know, tight clutch pushes BBs up here harder, and since we've got that divot in there now, it takes a little bit of resistance for BB to come down and out, whereas, you know, with the BB centering, it just comes straight out. So if you tighten the clutch too much, it pushes the BB up in that little pocket too hard for a lower pressure like 1000 psi to dislodge it. So we've gone through and we've loosened up the clutch a little bit. It should be okay now, but we'll just have to see. What I'm probably going to do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into some of the lower fire rates to see what it will do at 1000, and then if it's not being very agreeable, I'm going to bump it up to about 2000 psi and see if it can keep up, and, you know, how fast we can shoot this regulator. All right, let's go down to, well, 470. Change our pulse. Actually, yeah, let's just go with 6 for now. Or whatever it's on. What is that, 7? Yeah, 7. Okay. Have a look at our gauge. Let's drop our pulse. Let's see what 2 does. Not much. I'm just going to go with 5 and come on up to 800 rounds a minute. Yeah, it's just bleeding right through that. Let's see what pulse of 3 does. All right, well, that is quite underwhelming so far and proving to be no replacement for a flex regulator. But we're gonna try to up the pressure on it, and oh, there it is. See if we can do any better. Now, I am running a shim in here. I don't think that that's going to make a bit of a difference at all. In fact, I'm going to leave it in there. Like I say, I think that, you know, that is our big problem. Just the flow through. 2000. See what that says. $1,500. Okay, so we'll try 1,500. Or should we go to 2,000? I don't know. I still think that we're going to have issues with flow. We'll see. Okay, so let me get situated again. We're at 800, pulse of 3, which was not doing good with. Now we're up to what, 1,500 psi, something like that. Yep, I remembered. I forgot that I remembered. No. Almost. I think I want to bump it up to 2,000. Guys, I don't know where it is. We'll find out later, but it's getting into ear protection range. What if we go 600? That does feel pretty good. Should probably close this door. It does draw it down. What were we at? Pulse is 7.50. Okay. Let's come down off of that. 3. So that holds pretty good. And you know, that's busting out. We'll see. So it's definitely not necessarily ideal for the kind of shooting that I like to do. I kind of like, you know, as fast as I can, as hard as I can. Now, all that being said, those BBs were probably well over 1,000 feet per second. I would say that they were, you know, right there at 1,150. Because we were, let's see what pressure we were using. (2,000 psi). So it's just not, you know, maybe we were running into a flow restriction with the flex regulator. That could have been a possibility. When we were doing the 2,500 rounds a minute, I mean, what was it, 4K, pulse of 4? Yeah, we might have been knocking on a restriction in the regulator. I'm not really sure, though, because I think that the main restriction is still in the hopper. I guess we'll just have to look at the gauge like we did on this one to find out exactly what's going on at 2500 psi. We're going to do that some other day, though. I'm sure this video has been long enough. So yeah, that is an introduction to this. Maybe it's right for you, maybe it's not. I could see it being used, be a lot more useful with a stock Blackbird that has an air adapter. If you don't want to, I don't even know if you can get flex regulators anymore. So yeah, it'd be fine for a stock Blackbird for sure. Yeah, that's pretty interesting though. I mean, to just be able to go all the way up to as high as it will. I just wish you had more flow, but oh well. That's how the cookie crumbles, and I did it so you don't have to now if you don't want to, of course. All right, guys, later.